The mystery surrounding Ricky Nelson has finally been solved, and the truth is deeply unsettling. Born Eric Hilliard Nelson on May 8, 1940 in Teaneck, New Jersey, Ricky was the son of Ozzie and Harriet Nelson, two well-known entertainers of their time, practically born into show business. Ricky grew up immersed in entertainment, appearing as a child alongside his family in the popular radio and television series, The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. The show, which depicted the everyday life of the Nelson family, became a beloved staple in American households during the 1950s and early 60s. As he matured in front of millions, Ricky's good looks, natural charm, and talent made him an audience favorite. Unlike many child stars who struggled to break out of their early roles, Ricky Nelson transitioned successfully into a new identity as a serious rock and roll artist. At a time when rock music was considered rebellious by older generations, Ricky stepped up as one of the genre's most respected and enduring voices. It's a debut single in 1957, a cover of Fats Domino's "I'm Walking," shot to the top of the charts and announced the arrival of a fresh teen idol. From there, he delivered hit after hit: "Hello, Mary Lou," "Travelin' Man," "Poor Little Fool," "Lonesome Town," and it's late, each strengthening his image as a clean-cut, approachable rock star. Nelson's music helped bridge the generational gap, bringing rock and roll into mainstream living rooms thanks to his frequent television appearances. He was among the first teen stars to do so regularly, paving the way for future phenomena like the Beatles. By the time he was 21, Ricky had sold millions of records and ranked among the top-selling male solo artists of his era. However, the evolution of music in the mid-1960s challenged his dominance. Rather than chase fleeting trends, he chose a path of artistic growth, embracing the country rock genre. He formed the Stone Canyon Band and released the introspective 1972 hit "Garden Party," a song inspired by a Madison Square Garden performance where fans rejected his newer work in favor of old hits. With the line, "You can't please everyone, so you've got to please yourself," Ricky reasserted his creative integrity. Beyond music, Ricky carved out a strong presence in film and television. His acting debut came in the 1952 film Here Come the Nelsons, followed by a small part in the 1953 MGM movie The Story of Three Loves, where he portrayed a young version of Farley Granger's character. In 1959, legendary director Howard Hawks cast him in Rio Bravo alongside John Wayne and Dean Martin. Nelson's fresh energy helped make the Western a box office success. He continued his acting journey in films like The Wackiest Ship in the Army in 1960 with Jack Lemmon, and in 1965's Love and Kisses, written and directed by his father, Ozzie Nelson. He also made guest appearances on shows like General Electric Theater, Hondo, The Overthell Gang, 1969, and The Hardy Boys' Nancy Drew Mysteries, where he not only acted but performed his music. Television roles in the 70s and 80s, including guest spots on The Love Boat Petrocelli and High School USA 1983, showed that his talent remained in demand. Ricky's career was a mosaic of music, acting, and enduring charisma. During his teenage years, he became a national heartthrob. Yet despite the attention, Ricky's mother, Harriet, held significant influence over his personal life. She disapproved of many of the girls he dated, believing they lacked the class or character suitable for someone in Ricky's position. She emphasized discipline and decorum, not just for the sake of family values, but to protect his career from scandal and distraction. Eventually, Ricky fell in love with Chris Harmon, the daughter of football star Tom Harmon and actress Elise Knox. The Harmons and Nelsons were longtime friends, and their 1963 marriage was widely celebrated. The union of two famous families captivated the public and was seen as a fairy tale. Ricky and Chris had 4 children: Tracy, who became an actress, twins Gunnar and Matthew, who achieved fame in the 90s with their rock band Nelson, and youngest son Sam, named after Ricky's father Ozzie. While the family projected an image of happiness, the reality was more complicated. As Ricky focused on his music career and touring, Chris struggled with family responsibilities and emotional strain. Reports of infidelity and distance plagued the relationship by the late 1970s and early 1980s. Their marriage had deeply deteriorated. The couple separated, leading to a protracted and painful divorce finalized in December 1982. Despite the bitterness, both parents remained committed to their children. The emotional toll of the breakup left a deep mark on Ricky and influenced the more melancholic tone of his later songs, the most tragic chapter of Ricky. Nelson's life came on December 31, 1985, when he perished in a plane crash. For years, questions surrounded the crash that claimed his life, his fiancée Helen Blair and 5 members of his band. Initial reports blamed a mechanical failure, possibly involving a faulty heater or electrical short. The plane, a world. War Teray, Douglas DC-3, caught fire midair and crashed near DeKalb, Texas. The 2 pilots survived, but all others on board died. Speculation ran wild. Was it drug use? Was the plane sabotaged? Was it a case of gross negligence? The National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB) eventually concluded that a fire started in the cabin, likely due to the malfunctioning heater, but the exact cause remained undetermined. Rumors that drug paraphernalia was found on board led to unfounded claims about cocaine use. However, toxicology reports later confirmed there were no drugs or alcohol in Nelson's system. For years, mystery clouded the tragedy. The truth only became clear thanks to determined investigations by aviation experts and journalists. They uncovered that the plane had a long history of maintenance issues. Mechanics and records revealed that the heater had been poorly repaired and jury-rigged in violation of safety standards, positioned just below the cabin floor and surrounded by flammable materials. The heater ignited a fire that filled the cabin with toxic smoke. With no fire extinguisher on board and no fire retardant materials, the passengers had no chance. Ricky and the others likely succumbed to smoke inhalation before impact. The pilots escaped through cockpit windows, but for those in the cabin, it was already too late. The most harrowing revelation was not just the mechanical failure, but the human negligence that allowed a known, dangerous plane to remain in operation. It was a tragedy waiting to happen. What was once a mystery is now a heartbreaking confirmation. Ricky Nelson's death wasn't the result of personal recklessness, but of systemic failure and careless disregard for safety. Ricky Nelson's legacy lives in as a trailblazing teen idol, a rock and roll pioneer, a talented actor, and a beloved American icon. But the final chapter of his life serves as a powerful cautionary tale. Sometimes when mysteries are finally solved, they don't bring comfort, they bring sorrow. In Ricky's case, the truth adds weight to the loss of a man whose star never dimmed. It's only to be taken far too soon by a tragedy that never should have happened. Coming out of that toxic father-son dynamic allowed Paul Jr. to evolve on multiple levels emotionally, spiritually, and personally. He described it as finally stepping out from under his father's shadow, and for the first time he felt like his own man. But things between them had hit a boiling point. When Jr. defended himself by saying he always got the job done, Paul Sr. wouldn't listen. The tension snapped. Jr. argued that Orange County Chopper's OC would collapse without him, and that set his father off. In a fit of frustration, Jr. threw a chair, followed by a trash can, and kicked open a door before storming out. Sr. chased after him and fired him on the spot. That violent outburst didn't just destroy furniture, it shattered their working relationship for good. While the scene would later become an internet meme at the time, it was a deeply painful breaking point. After Jr.'s firing, the shop plunged into chaos. The crew was divided, some stood by Jr., others stayed silent out of fear of Sr.'s wrath. Customers grew uneasy, unsure if the magic of OC's bikes would survive without their main designer. Even TLC, the network behind the show, panicked. They warned Jr. that he had violated his contract by leaving, so he briefly returned as a contractor. But by April 2009, he was gone for good. Sr. wasn't finished, though. He wanted full control and tried to buy out Jr.'s 20% stake. When Jr. refused, Sr. sued him. What followed was more than just a legal battle, it was a power struggle. Sr. claimed he had the right to buy Jr.'s shares for $500,000 and even filed an additional $1 million lawsuit for damages. Shockingly, he named his own company, Orange County Choppers, as a co-defendant. A tactical move to force Jr. out completely, At the heart of the dispute was a poorly written contract clause that allowed Sr. to buy out Jr. at fair market value, but didn't define how that value should be determined. When the lawsuit reached the New York Supreme Court in 2010, the first ruling went in Sr.'s favor. The judge validated the clause and ordered an outside appraisal to assess the share value. Jr. seemed defeated. They sat in court, unable to look each other in the eye. But Jr. appealed. In December, the appellate court overturned the decision, declaring the clause too vague to be enforceable. Jr. retained his 20% ownership in OC, a huge legal and personal win. Against all odds, he was still standing. Reflecting later, Jr. spoke cautiously about their relationship. "We're not fighting," he said, though he admitted they weren't close or hanging out. Things weren't terrible, but they weren't good either. It was a slow, strained peace. Still, Jr. couldn't return to motorcycle building right away due to a 1-year non-compete clause, so he pivoted. He turned his focus to product design, working on a Coleman camping grill, and even designing a dog park. He admitted it was one of the hardest times of his life, but he pushed forward. He and his wife Rachel transformed a room in their home into an office, hired a young assistant, and launched Paul Jr. Designs across the street from OC in April. 2010, when the non-compete expired, Jr. made a bold move that shocked everyone. He didn't just start his own bike shop, he triggered a full-on rebellion. Key figures from OC, including Vinny DeMartino, Joe Polifico, Nub Collard, and even his brother Mikey defected and joined him. Cody Connolly followed soon after. This was more than a business shift, it was a mutiny. Paul Sr. was furious, but Discovery Channel saw opportunity. It launched a new show, Sr. vs. Jr., airing in August 2010. It showcased the family feud as weekly entertainment. While Jr. had reservations about airing their drama on TV, Sr. leaned into it. One reviewer dubbed it Tantrum TV, and the label stuck. The bikes became secondary to the emotional fallout. It was raw, messy, and gripping. Amidst the wreckage, something beautiful began. During a shoot, Jr. met Rachel Beast, who was on set dressed as the Mick Cuff girl in a yellow jumpsuit. They clicked instantly. What started as a TV moment grew into something real. Rachel, who ran her own boutique, quickly became Jr.'s anchor. She brought peace into his storm and helped him reconnect with his faith. Their wedding in August 2010 was a grand affair, complete with a 6-tier cake from TLC's Cake Boss. But one absence loomed large. Paul Sr. didn't show up. Though invited, the wounds were too fresh. Even with over 100 guests, the missing father figure cast a shadow over the celebration. Time passed, but healing was slow. In 2015, Jr. became a father himself after 2 years of trying. Ironically, it happened during a brief trip to Nashville. The birth of his son Hudson transformed him. Holding his child gave him perspective. He started to understand his own father's pain and what had been lost between them. This introspection deepened after a spiritual retreat, where he and Rachel made the commitment to abstain from intimacy until marriage. It was tough, but it reshaped his values. Eventually he proposed, and their shared faith became a guiding light in their marriage and his life. Jr. began speaking publicly about his spiritual journey. Encouraging others facing similar struggles, faith gave Jr. the courage to reach out to the man he once couldn't speak to, not just for himself, but for Hudson. Every time he looked at his son, he saw the cost of silence. That's when the real healing began. The feud between Paul Sr. and Jr. wasn't just a business fallout, it was a deeply personal, emotional war. Their biggest clash came in 2011 during a televised build-off. Sr. stuck to his raw, aggressive style, while Jr. unveiled a P51 Mustang-inspired bike that was sleek, soulful, and told a story. Between 2010 and 2016, they faced off in several competitions. Jr. won 5 out of 7. Proving he was more than his father's apprentice, he was a true visionary. While many assumed he'd fade post-OC, Jr. thrived. A design deal with Coleman kept his business afloat during a rough economy, opening doors to more projects from dog toys to public parks. By 2012, Paul Jr. Designs was outperforming Orange County choppers. Jr. landed major contracts with Blizzard, Paramount, and other global companies. He wasn't just building bikes. He was creating a legacy. Still, even the bitterest rivalries have breaking points. In December 2011, the death of Paul Teutul Jr.'s grandmother and Senior's mother led to a moment of truth. Junior picked up the phone and called his dad. "She loved you very much. I'm sorry for your loss," he said. It wasn't much, but it was something. Behind the silence, there was grief, possibly regret. The 2018 reunion between father and son wasn't a heartfelt reconnection. It was a scripted business move orchestrated by TV producers hoping to milk the drama. The two hadn't spoken in nearly a decade. Discovery Channel suggested they rebuild the destroyed Yankees-themed chopper they made in 2005. Rumors swirled that it had been damaged for insurance purposes. Still, it was the perfect excuse to bring them back together. But behind the scenes, it was ice cold. Separate shooting schedules, strict rules, and backup plans underscored how fragile the piece was. Senior claimed they were older and wiser. But everyone knew this wasn't a warm family moment. 2 years later came the final attempt at closure. The Last Ride, 2-hour special. They built a patriotic bike commissioned by ABC Supply, meant to symbolize unity and respect. But from the start, the tension was palpable. Senior dismissed Junior's ideas just like before. The crew felt the strain as they filmed inside a shop being torn down. There were glimpses of connection when they worked side by side, away from the cameras, just building. But those moments were rare. Senior later admitted he hadn't even wanted to do it. "It didn't help our relationship," he said. Fans were disappointed. Hashtags like #RespectPaul Jr. trended as viewers criticized Senior's coldness. Today, the relationship remains fractured. As of 2025, they live entirely separate lives. They only speak when contractually obligated. Between 2018 and 2023, they built a few bikes together, but insiders say it was all for show. In a recent podcast, Junior revealed they haven't shared a holiday meal in over 15 years, not even after Hudson was born. Their businesses are divided. Senior still runs OC while Junior has built a $14 million brand with Paul Jr. Designs, complete with apparel and licensing deals. Neither wants to revisit the past. They coexist in the same industry, but in entirely different worlds now. Junior is ready to speak his full truth. In February 2025, he announced his new memoir, Given the Opportunity, set for release in October. Unlike his first book, which centered on career and faith, this one dives deep into the emotional scars. It promises to reveal several moments cut from American Chopper, including a near-physical altercation in 2008. Junior won't hold back this time. He'll address his father's battle with alcoholism and the lasting damage it caused their family. He says he's done hiding. He hopes that by sharing his story, others dealing with similar pain will find strength and maybe even healing.